My name is Kinigra Deon, and I create short features on YouTube, highly cinematic videos that gives storytelling.
Hey, I'm Chikin Chow. I'm a creator with the mission to inspire my audience to be a hero. I have the #1 YouTube Shorts channel in the country, and I also create a scripted drama series called Alan's Universe on my channel.
And I'm Renee Ritchie. I am a longtime creator who now works inside YouTube to help YouTube better understand creators and help creators better understand YouTube. And this is a Creator Insider podcast. Let's talk about scripted content, because a lot of people will say there is no scripted content on YouTube, or you can't do scripted content successfully on YouTube. You prove otherwise.
Let's go.
How did you get into scripted content on YouTube?
That's the only thing that I knew. I met a couple of creators who were doing scripted content, and then I was just an actress in their videos. And then from there, I started doing my own videos, and it's what I love. So it's like making your own movie and your own storytelling. And I love like sci-fi and fantasy books. And so to see it written and then out, it's like, yeah, it's amazing. So.
And what about you?
I started as a short form creator first, and scripted content is actually very common for short form videos. And then I decided, after having like a health problem in the beginning of last year, thinking a lot about life and death, and I was like, what is gonna be my legacy when I pass away? And I was like, I wanna make something that I've always dreamed of, which is making amazing stories on YouTube. And that's why I decided to make Alan's Universe. And
just to be clear, when people say scripted content, like, it can be a few minutes long, but you have uploaded very lengthy scripted videos, and quite a lot of them.
Yeah, it's not intentional. It's more for the storytelling. So however long it takes to get the story out there, like to express the emotions, to make sure like my audience feel exactly what we're conveying. So it may be 30 minutes, it may be an hour and a half. It's rare that it's less than 20 minutes because I don't know how to really create short form. It's like my mind is just constantly writing, and it's like I can see this full story. So
if you ever need short form advice, I have like a strong recommendation.
Yeah, I text him all the time. I suck at short form, and he saw one of my like videos. He's like, "You did good."
Yeah, super good. We
can chat more. Yeah, we chat. Yeah, all the time.
So the conventional wisdom, like if you ask a lot of people how to be successful on YouTube, they'll often tell you like lean into your own voice, be authentic, be real, talk about you. On scripted content, you're deliberately leaning into storytelling and character. If someone were to ask you how to be successful with scripted content, what's the advice you would give them?
It is still the same truth. Like it's even more about storytelling than I think challenge videos or vlogs, because when you're watching scripted content, you're following the emotional journey of a character. Mm-hmm. So the retention tactic is literally just telling a really, really compelling story.
And like to add on to that, it's still being yourself. You just get to create your world or whatever it is that you see, and you get to represent, like for me, I get to represent, like I'm a black woman, and it's so many little black kids who watch me, and they see us in these fantasy videos when they normally don't see us in that type of content. So for me, it's still being who I am. It's just I get to write a story. Basically,
people often mistake retention with fast cuts, but like emotion is retention. Like if you get somebody to feel, to be suspenseful, to be tense, they're riveted to your content.
Yeah, it's about the emotion. If I have a comedy, I want my audience to laugh, right? And then if I have a drama, I want you to cry. If it's a sad moment, I need them to cry. I want like, oh my gosh, that was so sad. And we get that feedback in our comment section. So, it's definitely about just making a really good story that they can feel. I don't really look at analytics that much. I should. But like, I don't look at retention time. I just really try to make the best story. So.
How do you, like, once you've made a video, do you go back and look at it and say, like, I want to work on these things for the next video? Or do you, like you said, you don't look at analytics, but do you look at, like, comments, audience reaction? What sort of things are important to you?
I think, for me, when I look back at the video, I'm like, oh my gosh, the continuity. What was that? So mine is not really more so than, or, oh my gosh, I should have got a shot where they were looking at each other's eyes to really show that they were really like in love with each other. And I'm like, I missed that shot because I direct the video as well. So it's like those small things that could have made the video or the emotion or for the audience to understand that scene better. Yeah, so all the time. So like for me, we have different directors on our set, but I'm like the love storyteller. So my shots is they stop like, and the kids, like the actors, they're like, how long do we have to look at each other? Until they understand that you love each other. You know, so yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Similar. I have like a lot of things that I look at after every shoot. Like from a production standpoint, like how shoots could have gone more smoothly, how we can be more efficient with our time. That's actually just as important as the analytics side. One really good example is I used to do an intro for my series that was like music, and it was like little teasers of what was to come in the episode. But then we tried one episode without the intro, which was my favorite part, by the way, and we saw it performed better. So we started to remove the intro, and we don't have it moving forward. So it's like things like that we study in the analytics and really implement.
I noticed that you did that, but I love the intros.
I know.
They were so cute. I was like, what? He films a freaking intro and it's completely different. It's not like inside the actual film that he's shooting. I was like, this is so dope. This is cute. And it works.
I know. So it was like, so it was basically kind of like 6 scenes that gave a clue to the story that was to come. But I think something psychological about having a song and the song ends makes people want to swipe away after the song is over. So instead we have a very, and you have this too, the first scene is always very, very engaging, one of the most engaging scenes that tells you what's going to happen in the, it basically sets up the conflict of the story. We found that works a lot better for keeping an audience for the whole story.
That's a very classical storytelling technique when you force yourself to kill your darlings. You have these things that you just love, but if you ruthlessly want to serve the audience and the story, you sometimes have to take the things you love out to make room for the things that they love.
True. That's true.
And you can revive it in a different way. Just yesterday, I performed the theme song and 3 other songs here at VidCon. You can have your darlings in other ways. Right. So maybe we'll revive that by having a tour or something.
It's so catchy. Sorry. It's so catchy. It's like...
It stays with you. You carry Alan with you like all day after you've seen the video. One of the other things that you do particularly successfully is move people from short form to long form. And I think the key for me has always been, a lot of creators just want it to happen, but you make me want to do it. And that seems like, how does that work for you when you're thinking about those transitions?
So we make a long form episode, and then so we shoot that for a couple days, and then we have 1 day dedicated to shooting shorts related to the episode. It's pretty simple, actually. So if we have a vampire episode, we have 7 or 8 shorts, unique shorts, not cut downs, that have the same theme. And then we say, go watch the long video. And it works really well because you're really intrigued by the short. The short has a lot more reach than long form. And then they go over to see a long version of it.
I think there's the 2 key things I heard there. Is one is you make specific shorts. You don't just cut down the long. I think that's fine for like interviews and things, but it doesn't motivate you. When you make that specific call to, and I've seen you put the thumbnail sometimes too, and it's like, I know what I'm going to get. And we've talked about this before, like people don't always remember the video, but they remember the feeling it gave them. And you promised me more of that feeling that I'm enjoying. Because like some people I'm in the shorts feed, I just want to keep looking at shorts, but like, oh, this is really great. I could feel like this more. And then you tell me to click that button, and then I click it, and then you immediately make me happy when I land on the video. It's not like a slow burn. It's like, I'm immediately happy. You rewarded me. I'm in.
Oh, thank you.
No, I think that's brilliant. I think like people can adopt that strategy across. Like I was watching Real Engineering, and he's like, this is how the sail on a satellite works. If you want to see how the whole satellite works, like click that button. And it's the same thing. It's like, I do want to know how that whole sail works. And I think that's really a great way to make the audience want something rather than just the creator want it.
And I think it's really impressive that you started as a shorts like creator and was able to take your audience to long form, because a lot of creators that I do talk to, that is hard for them. They struggle with that, but I think your content is so unique, and even how you do like your shorts, even how you do your shorts, like you said, the emotion that you put into your shorts, it still matches your long form. So I want to go in and continue watching it longer. So yeah, I think it's really, really dope. Like,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, you did it. You've done. I mean, I brag about him all the time. I'm sorry, like I do seriously to everyone because he really.
I mean, same.
Yeah, he's. Your content is amazing. Like,
Oh my
it really
gosh,
is.
the same
So, yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
We're like each
Yeah.
other's biggest
Yeah.
fans, and
Yeah.
we're meeting for the first time in
Exactly.
person here.
Yeah.
So
But
this
the
is
vibe
great.
works. Like the vibe totally works.
Yeah.
When sometimes people think about doing YouTube, they wonder like, is it saturated? Did I miss my window? With scripted content, I think people worry that it's too difficult. Like, I'm not a studio. How do I do this? But
Now, I didn't go to school for this, so I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say, like, oh, yeah, you could. Yeah, no, it takes a lot of hard work, but it does have to be something that you love doing.
Yep.
And so if you're into movies or TV or acting or, filming, if that's like your passion, then it may be hard work, but you're going to enjoy and love doing it. So, and I don't think anything is saturated. Whatever you are, like, no one is you, right? So it's not a ton of yous out here, so it isn't saturated. You're going to put your unique spin on it.
So true. Yeah. It is hard work. We're not going to sit here and say that it's not hard work. It's so hard to make what we make.
Yeah.
But if you have like great people around you and you love what you do, it's like fun,
Yeah.
Like being on set is like the best time ever, and you get to make like awesome stories. Like the feeling of writing something or having somebody else write something and see it come to life is like
Yes.
awesome.
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And she works hard because
Yeah.
when we first talked on the phone, she was pregnant and she was
Oh, yeah.
shopping for props for a
I
video
was,
and
yeah.
giving me advice at the same time. I was like, oh my gosh, she's like superwoman
Yeah.
here. So yeah.
for me, it was always about like I had this idea in my head, and I felt like it wasn't real until I put it out.
Right.
And that was like, it just drove me to do it. I had to get it out into some physical form or
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you just mentioned reminds me too, like, I'm not like, these are great jobs. Like being a creator is like the best job I've ever had. It's fantastic, but it is a job. And I think that's the other thing that people sometimes don't realize. It's like, I can make a video, get a billion views, $1 billion, I'm out. But like it is constant work.
Yeah, it's consistency. And
Yeah.
so even if, like, say, you're asking whether or not this person needs to be well versed in the filming. No, you don't, but you do have to be consistent because the more consistent you are, you'll start, oh, what's this camera? And you'll start like shopping and you'll start researching, and then eventually you become better. It's like, and then we have YouTube University. You'll start researching, oh, what's that light?
Yeah.
Like, well, they can't see, but
I love that term, YouTube
it's
University.
definitely-
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
So then you learn so many different types of equipment that you can add to your own collection, and then it builds and it builds.
You're
and
on
it
the
builds.
color grading and the
Exactly,
sound design,
yes.
wormholes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flip side of that also is relevancy. Like you get a channel, you start making a channel, you start getting a certain amount of views, and you start expecting those certain amount of views, but then like you see, it's like staying static or it's going down. And I think like YouTube is new and novel and it's exciting, and like we're creators, but like entertainment is entertainment. And I think we've seen like in music, like artists have to reinvent themselves, and like television and movies have to reinvent themselves. Do you feel like that's a common truth on YouTube as well?
I think yes and no, because like for me, I really enjoy the content that I create. And I'll say the only time where I've had to shift would be to the community guidelines. So it's more like shifting for that, but I'm still telling the same great stories. And I feel like as long as you're really putting in your time and the effort, and if you love that product at the end, then your audience more than likely is going to love that product too. So I think it's have to do with like passion. And I think once the passion leaves, it leaves your content. So it's not you reinventing yourself. It's somewhere you forgot and you left yourself in the first place. So
Yeah, I think like the transformation or reinventing yourself has to be really authentic. I did make a really big transition from when I was just doing short form content and comedy skits to making the drama series in Alan's Universe. Like a lot has changed in my content,
Yes.
and people have noted about it, but the audience has all joined along for the ride, and I think it's because it came from a really authentic place. Like it's still me. If you watch my old videos and my new ones, there's a really like common through line through all of them, because I don't know, like I create it, with my team, and so if you always keep that authenticity, even as a writer or a director.
Right.
It shows. It really does.
You mentioned community guidelines. One of the things I've been thinking about is, like, again, like YouTube is like this cool place where everyone can go. Like, if you can hit upload, there's no gatekeepers. You can put your voice, your vision online. But I think at the same time, in traditional industries, in traditional media, you have like generations of producers who can like give you advice. For example, if you're a new recording artist, they can say, hey, if you use explicit lyrics, you won't get like this much radio play. Or hey, if you make an R-rated version of the movie, you'll get half the box office as PG-13. Where I think like with creators, like we don't even think about that. We just hit it. Like it happens when we hit into it.
Right.
And there's not like the same thing like someone saying, hey, you know, you've got to follow this community guideline. It's like it happens and then you got to go learn about it.
Yeah.
Do you see some sort of mechanism where YouTubers start sharing knowledge, or something YouTube could do to sort of fill that void for like generational knowledge?
I really think YouTube does a really good job with listening to creators. And that was one of the things that a lot of the creators we were talking about with the community guidelines. And we were feeling as if, like, with scripted content, our content is not like reality. So, you know, there may be a part of there where it's this kid is getting bullied, but it's like ours is fake. It's fictional. Yeah. So there's one community guideline that was in there that said fictional content. It's still... I can't remember what it is, but it has to be, the audience still has to know that it's fake, which is one of the reasons why if we did use a gun in the scene, it is orange. You know, it's not real, right? So I think it's more about trying to, like, because it still needs to be a safe space.
Yeah.
Like, so I understand the community guidelines and why they're there, because you want your audience to feel safe when they're watching something. You want them to be, the parents or whoever's watching, to trust that the content that their kids are consuming is safe for them. So I understand it. And I think as a creator, you have to kind of like shift with the guidelines, and you're going to start learning about it. But it would be nice if there was like, hey, for fictional content, do XYZ, or don't do this, or this is okay and this is not okay, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a really good resource too is other creators.
Yeah.
Like that's where I feel like I learn a lot of that generational knowledge, or things that you don't really know when you're starting out. Like when I first started, I didn't even know like click-through rate was important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't even know about like click-through rate and retention and suggested video traffic. Like this stuff to us now is a no-brainer.
Exactly.
But when you first start, it is so overwhelming. But other creators help like to kind of
almost fast track you through it. Almost like really quick. Yeah,
exactly.
So one of the things that you've been doing is building out a studio, and like you've been building these huge like casts. We see that in traditional media. What is that like when you're a creator and you start off with your own voice, your own vision, and then you start adding teams to it and you start building out production facilities? How do you think about like making that first hire, and then how do you think about it when it becomes 10 people, 20 people?
Having a good team is so important, and it's you can't do this by yourself, right? And in order to grow, you have to add people who are better than you. Like I have an editor now. He's amazing, and he's better than I am at editing. And so for me, it's about just reinvesting in them and making sure that they're also happy where they are. So like I see us growing so big, but I think it's still important that all the team members are like, they still see our vision, like we're all one, and everything that we're doing is this one common goal. So I think before hiring, it was just all myself, and it was really hard for me to delegate. Like even when I hired directors, it was like, no, why would you do that shot? I don't like that shot. This is not, and that was their vision. And then I had to sit back and go, Kinigra, move your hand.
Yeah.
Let them be as creative as they want, and then they start really producing some beautiful content that I wouldn't have, my mind wouldn't even created it. And so it's like it's as a team, I think the biggest thing is to like not micromanage and let everyone kind of put in their own creativity. So the bigger you get, the more you have to kind of like sit back and watch what you have built.
I read a book recently called Multipliers, And the summary of the book is that the best bosses are just people who hire amazing people and let them do what they do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, especially for creators, because it's our name. It's literally Kinigra Deon, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's especially hard for creators to have that happen. But when you find great team members, like, they become your family. Like, I love my team so much. I could cry about it. We were all just together, like, last night, celebrating our performance. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to Disneyland this Sunday. Like, I love my team so much, and I feel just the utmost gratefulness and just joy around them. And you can have that, you know, you can build that. It starts with you. And it allows you to do more and create more. Because, you can't do it yourself. But she did it herself for a long time. Really long.
So
We also heard, like, Nielsen now, I think it's 12 months in a row, depending on when this airs, that YouTube is the number one streaming platform. So increasingly when people are turning on television, they're turning on YouTube. And we've also seen that creators are going into their analytics and looking by device, and then they're seeing not just like how many views they get from television, but how long the watch time is. And in some cases, like the quality of the RPMs that they're getting on those videos. Like, television is becoming YouTube.
yeah.
How do you think about that when you're putting together your videos? Do you relax a little about watch time? Do you think about, like, how are you going to structure it differently? What's the process for you there?
Honestly, I did a panel yesterday, and it's just a good story. So, and like, honestly, like, I just really want to tell a good story. And so I don't really look at, like, the watch time, or because if I put all my energy into the story and into the set and into the acting, it comes out as the watch time. It makes sense that they watch this more because I put so much effort into it. So I don't do it backwards. Like, I look at, the watch time was this, maybe we should do this. It's, no, this watch time is this because we put in all the effort in our our pre-production. So
yeah, with the YouTube TV, I think it's incredible, and I think it's so cool how, like, you know, even I'll catch myself having YouTube on my TV and not realizing, oh, wait, am I watching, like, Hulu, or am I watching Netflix, or am I watching Kinigra Deon? You know, like, it's really, like...
I mean, they wish.
And so, I think it's really incredible, and we've always approached Alan's Universe, the Longform episodes, as we want to make, like a television series on YouTube. That's how we kind of, like, approach it. And so it's cool to see that shift on the culture too.
Yeah, I think so. Like, when I'm watching, like, Michelle Carre, or I'm watching, like,
really
like Johnny Harris, Cleo Abe, like, I'm watching these people. This is like TV for me. Like, that, it's indistinguishable. And I think when we put together, like, you building what is essentially the modern version of studios and creating the modern version of television and movies, my question to you is, how do you see YouTube compared to what people had in previous generations? Is this, like, the new legitimate form of media for our generation?
I have such a good story for this. So I was, like, nominated recently for this award. It's called Gold A100 list. And there were all these, like, celebrities there, like Lucy Liu and Steven Yeun, like, traditional film TV stars, the biggest stars that you could imagine. And there was one little girl there, 6 years old. She's playing the new Lilo and Stitch. That's how she is there.
I love it.
And the whole night, all she cared about was me and my actress. Like, she was just following us around the whole entire time. She had no idea who these, like, traditional stars were. And that is really, like, the new generation and what they consume and how it's changing.
Yeah.
I agree, definitely. I think that it's not about the platform where it comes. It's TV is a TV, right? It's there. And so I think everyone has to make the shift. YouTube is I think a lot of people, when they think about YouTube, it's a viral video that you filmed in your bedroom.
They still
no. No. It is not that. It is sound equipment. It is lighting. I have so many lights and so many different cameras and so many different setups. It is truly a TV network is what we're producing. And, like, we have these studios and we're putting in that time and we're putting in all this hard work. which is why we should be nominated for an Emmy, right? We should.
I mean,
And
yes, please.
yeah, and when we think about television, creators should be in that conversation, right? Because of Michelle. Oh my gosh, her
Yeah.
content is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're watching a show. It's really good. Hot Ones.
Yes.
It's
Mythical
amazing.
Morning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so well produced. The quality of it, it's like
It's a Super Bowl every week. I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Made by Lau won James Beard Awards. I mean, like, we're seeing, like, creators. I think, like, if you look at a certain people, they're like, oh, a movie is this, a TV show is this. If you talk to, like, their kids, whether they're teenagers or college kids, like, this is what they're watching now. This is their universe. And even, like, the challenge videos, they're done better than a lot of the challenge TV shows. Like, like, you watch, like, a Mr. Beast video, or you watch Jet Lag the Game, or you watch one of those shows, I am riveted from the moment that starts till the end of it. And I can't say that about everything anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely a shift, and I think traditional media has to shift with us as well.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they want to stay relevant,
Exactly.
they'll go where the relevancy, like, they'll skate to where the relevancy is.
Yeah. And a lot of times they do, but it's not like for the awards. It's more, hey, I want this creator to talk about this
100%.
thing, and it's like, but this creator here that we are about to talk about, this particular show,
Is the show.
is the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming to watch her or
Yeah.
he talk about your show.
Yeah.
You know, so creators. Yeah, creators, here are your flowers.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Oh,
get
I
them.
love it. I love it. Yeah. So what is next for you? What are you looking at for the rest of the year or into next year?
Right now, I'm working on. I want at least 100 acres of land because we're about to
Wow.
build out
Yeah.
a full-blown studio. And I need hospital, school, a restaurant. We want like an apartment complex. We really want to go all out with our studio, like a miniature Tyler Perry studio. So
Oh, man.
that's what we're really working on, and that's our focus, so that we can bring in more jobs toward Alabama, because I think that's the hardest thing for us is finding cinematographers, finding cast, like actresses and actors, and because it's not too many people in Alabama who like choose that as a career. So I think if once we have a studio to bring in more of that traffic back to my hometown. So
I love that.
yeah.
I have the same thing. I also just signed a lease for a studio as well.
So
and
exciting.
so for the rest of the year, we're going to be building, we're going to be set deco, and yeah, all my focus is also on the studio. So
Yeah.
same thing. I
Love
mean,
it.
the acres of land, that's crazy. LA, we have talent, but we don't have space.
That's
we
true.
don't have space. We've been doing our show in a 800 square foot
Wow.
1-bedroom apartment. Like the whole
thing?
the whole thing. I mean, outside of the exterior shots,
Yeah.
but we turned an 800 square foot 1-bedroom apartment into a classroom, a locker room, and a cafe. But that's LA. It's literally, I have an apartment and on the same floor, the other apartment that I rented under my parents' name is our classroom. It's like so crazy.
Oh, wait, the classroom is an apartment?
Yeah.
I know.
It's
It's
literally
like
as
mind
big
blown,
as
right?
this hotel room right now. Yeah.
Oh, the shots. Those
Yeah, yeah.
Those are
Video
amazing,
magic,
dude.
like,
oh, yeah,
total
that is,
video magic.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's definitely my team. Like, they're incredible. We one thing about smaller spaces, you can really detail it,
Yeah.
so it looks so much more
Looks good.
like it really pops. So, but yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Thank you both so much for joining us. I learned a ton from this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad I get to meet you.
I know, yes.